What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. It's just days before Extreme Rules, so the WWE has plenty of confrontations waiting to boil over, including Bayley and Bianca Belair's contract signing and a face-to-face meeting between Matt Riddle and Seth freaking Rollins. Throw in a wild match featuring the Judgment Day vs Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles to start things off, and Raw looks to be one wild-ass show, but will it live up to its promise? Well, join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including conclusive proof about the White Rabbit's identity, Vince didn't want to paint Cody champion, Andrade feels stagnant in AEW, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we won't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number one, an incredible interview. A Kevin Patrick's impromptu interview with Bobby Lashley backstage was an example of how Triple H has restored the real sports feel to the WWE. The circumstances of the interview seemed like something fans might see at a sporting event, as Patrick caught up with Lashley on his way out into the arena. Lashley's comments about the man making the title rather than the title making the man were genuine and showed what makes him tick. Segments like this reinforce the illusion that fans are watching a show featuring athletes competing, much like any good TV drama simulates its genre, whether it be a medical show or a police procedural. Number 2, everyone hates Rey. A poor Rey Mysterio who's quickly become his own worst enemy and a menace to anyone who teams up with him against the Judgment Day. The WWE has done a remarkable job building up the Judgment Day's psychological warfare against the Master of the 619, as a fearsome faction continues to isolate Mysterio from everyone close to him. They started with Rey's own son, which only added to Rey's problems, as his misguided efforts to straighten out his son have isolated his longtime friend Edge and even fellow babyface AJ Styles. Number 3, Seth Stomp-O-Matic Rollins. But Seth Rollins is so good at getting heat that he can cite the fans with just a few curb stomps. The Visionary has enough going on with Matt Riddle, so why would he stomp the hornet's nest that is Bobby Lashley, not once but twice? Well, that's because he's Seth freaking Rollins. Stomping Seth even found time to stomp Mustafa Ali before his face-to-face with Matt Riddle, as Seth added insult to injury by labeling Bobby Lashley Bobby Trashley, the final straw that set the US champion off and led him to calling Rollins out for a US title match. Number 4, Bayley is so good. Bayley cut another good promo, reminding fans of her climb to the top, fall from grace, and subsequent rise back to the top, this time as a heel. This woe is me moment was the perfect setup for Belair to respond, but it was only part 1 of Bayley's two-step strike on Belair. Number 5, Belair fires back. Bayley was good, but Belair took everything she said and exposed Bayley as a hypocrite, telling the Damage Control leader that while Bayley was pretending to be someone else, she, Belair, has always been real to herself and her fans. Belair's comments that Bayley's true self eventually surfaced cut Bayley to the bone and showed why babyfaces are admirable and heels aren't. Number 6, Bayley's sinister strategy. Getting back to Bayley, the second step in her strike on Belair played out masterfully, as Dakota Kai and Io Sky laid out Asuka backstage, then followed things up with a post-match attack on Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. With Asuka and possibly Alexa Bliss out, Belair will have to face Bayley with no backup at Extreme Rules, a reminder that while Bayley isn't a nice person, she's a shrewd strategist. Number 7, Monster vs. Monster. Now, the WWE continued its excellent setup for what looks to be a looming match between Omos and Braun Strowman. The WWE is taking its time with this feud, which is smart since it's unlikely it can get many high-quality matches from both men. Instead, this series will likely be a series of slobber knockers based on stipulation matches that hide their weaknesses and give both monsters a chance to destroy each other and everything around them. Number 8, Gable's superhuman suplex. And a mention of Raw's good points would be complete without mentioning Chad Gable's incredible suplex on Braun Strowman. Master Gable countered a power slam attempt by the monster among men, throwing him into the ropes and German suplexing the big man. Phenomenal feats like this are what can make a match with an obvious outcome very entertaining. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, a plodding promo. The Judgment Day has bounced back from those dark days when they kicked Edge out of his own faction and looked to be circling the drain. However, last night's show-starting promo was hit and miss, especially with Finn Balor handling the majority of the dialogue. There's only one way to get better on promos, and that's to practice. Unfortunately, Balor's not there yet. Either that or he hasn't cut promos in such a long time that he's lost his skills, and his promo dragged the segment down. The WWE either needs to feature all members of the Judgment Day cutting promos, or put Balor in shorter segments where he can practice his skills without dragging things out. Number 2, Dexter dozing. The Miz is suffering from a phenomenon that certain other fans are going through, dozing off thanks to the glacial pace of his storyline with Dexter Lumis. The only highlight of this program so far has been Dexter's drawings. Number 3, Bloodline saturation. The Bloodline is popular with fans, but do they need to be booked both on Raw and SmackDown? Well, Raw has improved so much in the last few months, but short of the Bloodline putting their titles on the line, they don't belong on Raw except to pop ratings like next week's season premiere. That was nothing downright ugly, as Raw did a good job hyping Extreme Rules and even pulled off an entertaining contract signing, something fans haven't seen in a long time. What do you guys think of Raw last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at White Rabbit mystery solved. Atop of today's news is the latest White Rabbit QR code, one which we believe has clearly solved the mystery behind the White Rabbit's identity. The White Rabbit trail continued on last night's Raw, much as expected, but last night's QR code provided hints that strongly suggested Bray Wyatt is indeed behind the White Rabbit mystery. While Wyatt's return is the worst kept secret in wrestling right now, last night's clue left no doubt as to who the White Rabbit is and the circumstances leading to his return. First, let's look at the QR code. The code aired briefly during a backstage segment with Candice LeRae. Ryan Satin tweeted about the QR code, so the White Rabbit QR code on Raw this week leads to an image with one side shown on mobile and another on desktop for me. That gives the URL to this site. While there are a number of technical clues, we'll stick to the main points. Satin noted a code that takes viewers to a picture of White Rabbit milk. More importantly, the code also takes fans to a classic painting depicting the story of the biblical hero Samson, a man chosen by God to battle a Hebrew's enemies, the Philistines. Samson possessed superhuman strength and was unstoppable. That is until he confided in the secret of his strength to his wife Delilah. Once Delilah learned Samson's hair was the key to his power, she cut it and betrayed him to his enemies. The Philistines blinded and enslaved Samson, but the hero's hair grew back and he regained his strength, destroying an entire building by pulling down its pillars, killing more Philistines in one burst of destruction than he did during his previous campaign. Parallels between the Samson and Delilah story and the story of WWE's Fiend and Alexa Bliss are undeniable. Like Samson, the Fiend fans will recall that Bliss turned heel on the Fiend at WrestleMania 37 during his match against Randy Orton, apparently sapping the Fiend of his superhuman endurance and making him easy pickings for Orton. If you follow the parallel further, you can argue that the Fiend, like Samson, has regained his power and is returning to cause havoc. The only unanswered question is whether Wyatt, like Samson, will unleash an unprecedented fury on his enemies. Next up, Bray Wyatt chants on Raw. Speaking of Wyatt, there were plenty of Bray Wyatt chants at Raw. A sign the WWE Universe is anticipating his return. A fan tweeted a video from the show saying, "The crowd tonight chanting 'We want Bray' after White Rabbit played." In the video, fans can be seen holding up their cell phone lights, much like they did during Wyatt's entrance. Next up, Vince didn't plan on Cody winning the world title. Did Vince McMahon bring Cody Rhodes back to the WWE to become world champion? Well, that was a belief when the American Nightmare returned to WWE early this year, but a recent report suggests Vince had no definite plans for Cody to win the title. Fightful selectors reporting that Vince McMahon had not decided on making Cody WWE champion, and that Vinnie Mac was instead focusing on his plans for Roman Reigns to unify the WWE and Universal Championship. According to the report, Vince had no plans to take the titles off Reigns, even if Rhodes' feud with Seth Rollins seemed to be winding down. Whatever plans Vince had for Cody went out the window following Cody's injury and Vince's unceremonious exit from WWE. Next up, AJ Styles' heel turn. Is AJ Styles turning heel and joining the Judgment Day? Now, while nothing's been confirmed, WWE seems to be leaning towards a heel turn with a possible reunion of AJ and Finn. And finally, Andrade feels stagnant in AEW. And last but not least, how does Andrade feel about his time in AEW so far? Fans have heard murmurings of his dissatisfaction with his push and even seen Andrade drop hints on social media that things could be better. He didn't hold back in an interview as he said, "Right now I feel a little stagnant. I feel like I want more. I feel like although I have a good contract, the schedule is good. I like the schedule because WWE was inhuman. It was quite a lot." Ironically, the same situation that gives AEW wrestlers a lighter schedule also limits their chances of working matches. People cannot imagine, they think because he's fighting on TV, it's the only time he fights. There are non-televised matches in our cities, other countries, but right now it's difficult because I want more. I feel like I want more now that the rush is back. It's the pressure that we want more. What do you think of Andrade's complaint? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.